usually I pick up a small amount of clay and then I usually roll it on my wheel head or on the flat surface, and then kind of make it flat. So the sizes it's similar, and I usually making the handle, the top portion a little bit thicker and gradually thinner down to the bottom. The reason I'm doing that is that when I pour the handle, I get to choose the section that it's similar to the size of my mug. So I will pour it longer, and when I'm ready to attach, I get to choose the section I wanted. So that's why I make the top portion a little bit wider and the bottom portion a little bit narrower. And then when I pour the handle, you want to use a lot of, let me bring up my bucket. So you want to use a lot of water to pour. So I'm putting this in my bucket, and then I'm forming my finger like that. So pour it down, okay? Pour it down, and when you're pouring it down, make sure that you want to pour it a bit faster, okay? You don't want to stop in the middle. So to be able to pour it faster, move your fingers down faster. You need to be let it slippery enough, so you constantly add water to your hand. And also you see that when I'm pouring, I kind of alternate it. So I guess the finger is forming one side thicker, one side is thinner. So so you want to alternate it. And you pour it down all the way to the very bottom portion. So it now is thin enough. And then I usually like to add the finger mark, the thumb mark, on both ends of the handle. So I'm putting my finger behind it and use my right thumb. Pour on my right hand side and then pour the other side. So the middle section of the handle is a bit thicker. That's my personal preference. You could let the edge a little bit thicker. It's up to you. Okay, so that's the handle pouring, and since I'm adding a lot of water to the handle, I will let it hang on the side of the wheel for some time, depending on the weather. Summertime maybe 30 minutes to 1 hour, but winter time you could let it sit for up to 2 to 3 hours before you attach it, because when the handle is too wet, it's very hard to handle to pick it up and then attach it to it. So you might want to hang it on. Usually I hang it on the side of my wheel and let it sit for quite some time. So that's the one way of pulling the handle for usually that the people are pulling and attaching the handle this way. But there are some other way to, it will be easier for beginners. So I will show you when I'm ready to attach the handle later on. But now I'm going to trim my pot. Okay, trim my mugs. This is the mug I made the other day, and it's been sitting. The winter time is kind of slow drying, so I let it sit for a couple days and let it dry more evenly. I'm just going to use water to stick on the wheel head. You can use a clay coil to hold it on. And to be able to use this method to stick your piece on the wheel head, it's better you learn how to tap sander. So because if you have water underneath and you don't know the tap sander, it's going to be hard for you to adjust to move the clay. But by tapping it will be easier for you to move your pieces into the center. And if not in the center, you can tap it again. So that's the using the water method to stick your piece on the wheel head. If not, you can just roll a clay coil and just hold it on the side. It's not that big deal. And later on, after you remove the clay off the corner and you still want to trim that, I have a special device that you could compress down your piece and then take care of the bottom corner. Okay. And this is my new trimming tool. It's a similar design to my stainless steel trimming tools. It's just the blade. The tip of the blade is made of tungsten carbide. That the advantage of this kind of tip is that it can maintain the sharp edge much longer than my traditional stainless steel tool. You don't need to resharpen as often as the stainless steel tool. And also you could trim your clay a bit drier than the looping tool. The looping tool, it's easier to, especially the commercial looping tool, you could trim it a bit softer. But the tungsten carbide, the carbide tool, it's better to trim it when the clay is a bit drier. Even it can go on the bone dry pieces. If you have a bone dry that your pieces is a bit too dry, you can go through with the carbide tool because it's very hard. And you can take care of the dry clay. Wow, it's ready. The bottom is very thin. I can tell by hearing the sound. When it's thinner, the pitch sounds higher. So I usually trim the inside of the foot to the right thickness, and then usually compare the inside and the outside. The outside should be at least the same level or even lower, because when you throw the inside you have a little curve, so this corner could be a tiny little bit lower than the inside corner. So you can compare that. And then the final stage, I usually like to level the foot to cut it level. So I will speed up my wheel and then cut it through from the side of the foot. Okay, so this is my tungsten carbide number 2. Okay, can usually take care of the foot. Can get a nice corner here and a nice corner here, and also this kind of curve you can use this tool to take care of that. But when I am trimming here, see here, there's a little curve. This is not going to take care of that because the edges it's straight, but there's a little curve here that I cannot take care of it. So I have to choose different curving tool. Usually this is my number 5, okay, or you can use number 6, my number 6. So there's a little curve here, and this curve will be able to fit right there to take care of this curve. And usually you don't need to take a lot of clay off, because when you're making it, you know, make sure that this part is thin enough, so you don't really need to take a whole lot of clay off. But you want to connect the line, so the curve from here and then it go in, so it's more smooth. So the curve from the bottom corner all the way to here. And then you can change the tool back to number 2, or you can just use the straight side here. Just slightly even out the joint, the curve. All the very final stage, you can spin the wheel a tiny little bit faster, and let the moving the tool slowly, so the surface will be smooth. Okay, so that's my number 5 tungsten carbide tool. After that, use a shiny rock to compress the foot. On the stamp, right by the foot. So yeah, this is my stamp, a very small one, so it just fit right here on the foot, so I don't need to sign my name. Let me take care of a little bit of the corner a bit better. So that's the trimming right on the wheel. Now, when you are using water, sometimes your pieces stick on there. It's very hard to pick it up. Okay, you can spin the wheel slowly and then just kind of hold it and then twist it. Okay, twist it, so you will be able to remove it easily. And since mine is porcelain, so you can just use a sponge to smooth the rim. If you have a stoneware with a lot of grog, I don't recommend use a sponge to do that, because you tend to drag out the grog. The rim will become kind of rough. So in that case, I usually recommend people using a chamois or even just a paper towel, wet it, and then you will distribute the slip all over, so you don't have the roughness coming off. If you're using a sponge, you tend to have that. So that's the trimming of the curvy mark. Okay, this curve and this curve. And later on, I will show you how to attach the handle 3 different ways. Okay, 3 different ways. And while I'm waiting for my the handle that I pulled originally, wait till the handle dry, and then I will show you how I attach it. Okay, so I make this mark and trim it, and now I'm ready to attach the handle. And I promised that I would like to show you several ways of attaching the handle. So this will be my first one. So get a piece of clay, and then you attach right onto the mug, and then you pull your handle and you attach it. So you want to pull it nicely. Make sure that you roll your coil nicely. So I'm slightly tapping the clay. And then a score. Get some slip. So the slip is like using slip as a glue. So you are going to glue 2 pieces of clay together. So when attaching clay, make sure that you want to squeeze it so the joint will be stronger. And normally I don't attach the handle this way, but I just want to show you a different way of attaching the handle. So adding some water to the joint. Okay, so still rough. And now after you skewer the joint, just slightly pour the clay down, pour the handle. Right, so then after that, just let it hang naturally. Before I compressed it, I want to add a little bit of water here. Cut that off. So you can come back and reinforce the joint a little bit. Okay, so this is one way of making handle. You attach the small amount of clay and then you pour your handle right on top of it. Okay, and then I'm going to show you a hand-built handle. So you want to put your clay on a wooden board and then roll your coil. Okay. Make it as even as possible. And sometimes if the piece is not very even, maybe you can grab a piece of a wooden bat and then just use the flat surface and then you roll. That way you might be able to get a better chance to have it nice and even. Okay, so that's the coil, and then after that you wanna make it a little bit flat. Okay. Compress it a bit. So this piece of coil that I'm flattening, and then after that, find the center point. Okay, center point, and then if you have the rolling, small roller, so this is what you're gonna do. So one corner here is right around the center point, and then one side is sitting on the ball, and then you just roll. And then again, the other side, and then you roll. Okay, so this is the hand build handle. Okay, you can hand build it. And if you wanted to, you can also roll a texture to it. Okay, like the roller here, you can roll your texture over the handle. So you handle with texture. So let me attach this one again, cutting it off. Tap it a little bit. Oops. Let it slip. Again, make sure that you apply a bit pressure. Okay, and then I let it hang. So before I compress the firmer, I usually get a drip of water there right by the corner before I compressed it. So that's the handle with texture on it. Okay, let me make a handle without the texture. lie flat. So without the texture, just a simple Oh, forgot to score the surface. Make sure pressure right, so let it hang naturally, and this is where I'm going to attach. So added a little bit of water, slip here. You could adjust the curve. Add a drip of water right by the joint, and then compress. So that's the handle without texture. It's hand built, okay, hand built. So 2, 3, 4. So now finally it's the normal way that I attach my handle is that I pull the handle first beforehand. Couple hours, maybe even depending on weather. If that summertime, maybe 30 minutes before I trim, I pull my handle and let it sit. The winter time, maybe a couple hours, 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on the weather. And you want to wait until the all the water is gone, and you can use the hand to touch it without getting any mark, any finger mark on it. So that's the stage you're waiting for. And then after that, just do the same thing. Score. Tap open, use my fingernail. Slip. And then apply pressure when I'm squeeze it. Okay. Right, and then slightly bend it. Okay, and let it hang down naturally. See that? This is the usual handle that I will put it on my pieces, on my mug. And after that, put a little bit of water or slip there. And cut it off. Put water in the joint. Put the hand inside to support it and then compress it. You come back and adjust it a bit. So that's the 4 different handles on the piece. You could weigh depending on the weather, come back and then clean up. Okay, you can use a needle tool, just go back in there and then clean it up. And maybe even just use a brush some water over. But before you brush water, you might want to smooth it out so everywhere is smooth. And clean up and brush a little bit of water. I never put any wax at all. As long as your piece is not too wet, the handle's not too wet, and you compress firm enough, I don't think the handle is going to fall apart. Make sure that you do a scoring and then compress it and then let it sit a little bit and come back and smooth it. And I don't think you will have any problem at all. Just make sure that your cup, you want to attach it at the right time. Don't wait till it's too dry to attach it. Okay, so I don't know which way you like.